Hello again, everyone. Ambassador Terry here, and we're talking about audience response today with behavioral scientist Jenny Landgren. Jenny, this is going to be fun.
It is, Terry. It's so good to see you.
So good to see you too, my friend and colleague and co-host for many things. This would be exciting. Audience response. Why should you care? Well, they'll probably hire again if you did a good job, right? So
Mm,
that's a big deal. But at the same time, when you're sitting in the audience and a speaker gets up there and you kind of know about them and or what they're going to say, and they don't deliver that, you just kind of go, oh, that was, yeah. Particularly if you paid money to get in there. Even if it's online, you bought a ticket to listen to this person speak, and they seem to let you down. You
mm,
know, uh, that's important. That's
it
important.
is.
When you're reading the audience, it's good to know. Like I've taught many times. How they do move their head and things like that. They get it. Speaker asked a number of times during their presentation, does that make sense? Oh, 97% of the people out there will go, yes. And the other
Mm,
3%, well, no, but I have a question. We'll
mm,
hold that question until the end, and we'll do some Q&A. So where was I? Oh, yeah. So, and then you just keep on moving. But perhaps you could tell us a time, maybe the Pirate Summit. That was a pretty good event for you. What you felt the audience response was to
mm,
different people there, including yourself.
mm. Absolutely. What comes to mind is that you're constantly looking for the response. When you're not really connecting with yourself first, you're so depending on the response and what that is emotionally. The Pirate Summit was a good experience. I'd love to share on some other experiences as well. The Pirate Summit was just a lot about connection, a lot about curiosity, and really more of a conversation where you could really check in with people constantly throughout the talk, and just that shared mission and that shared experience. And I felt really good about that. I'd love to share about other experience when the response was different. Mhm.
Yeah, why don't you continue? Because you're on a roll there, and I'm
Yeah,
intrigued. I bet our listeners are too.
yeah. Well, there's so much when we're speaking that is in our sphere of control. And also, there are some things that are not. And there's always that fear of not connecting, of the audience not getting it. And there's especially two types of audiences that come to mind when it's really outside of my control, if it's, if we're connecting or not. And the first is due to culture. There is a culture in Sweden that is called jantelagen. And that is, some generations have been taught that don't you speak up, don't you share your opinion, don't you think that you are someone, no one's going to listen to you. So I've stood in front of audiences where, in groups and teams, really, where I could sense that they don't know how powerful they are. They don't know what happens when they show up and when we are co-creating this together. So that's outside of my control. And then there's the audience where there's tension in between them, when there's maybe I'm seeing them for conflict resolution, or I'm working with them for just putting the light on the possibilities moving forward. But there's just some tension in the air that is keeping people from putting themselves out there. And the experience that you have as a speaker when there's just this lack of response, but really in communication, a lack of response is also communicating something. It's this experience of you're getting on a walk with these people, like you're so ready to connect with them, and you're putting out your foot, And there's just no solid ground. Like there's nothing catching your step. And what I've learned is always, always connect with yourself first. Am I feeling good about what I'm sharing? Do I believe that my message is serving my audience? And there's just been so many good lessons on
Yes, yes. You know, you hit a couple of really strong points there that brought back to similar experiences in my memory. Walking into a boardroom of a company to deliver a presentation, and the air in there was so thick you could cut it with a knife, so to speak. Okay. And I took a couple of steps in, I just stopped and I looked at everybody, and everybody's doing this.
that.
Like, I know you're not getting ready to fire me because I'm coming in here to present a really great thing that you guys can get on board with. I wonder
Mm,
what just happened, you know? And usually when you're walking into that type of situation, somebody's escorting you in, right? And in this situation that I'm thinking about, there was a person there. And I said, excuse me, come here for just a second. What's going on in this board meeting? What have they found out this morning that, other than company secrets, that's got this place so doom and gloom in here? Because what I'm going to do is really lighten the place up. Is it appropriate? Right? And she said, I don't know. They were laughing and joking half an hour ago. Hmm. So I said, okay, well, thanks. And I walked up, took my position beside the CEO of the company. And before he said anything, I grabbed his arm and I said, what's going on in here, if you don't mind me asking? Because your assistant said you guys were laughing and having a good time just
mm,
30 minutes ago. And he said, well, you notice there's a chair empty back there. Um, one of our board members' brothers passed away tragically in a car accident this morning, and he just took off, and we're feeling really bad
okay.
for him. And
Yeah,
I said, okay, thank you for
yeah.
telling me, because I'll change the way I'm going to make this delivery. And he
Mm,
says, good, thank you. And
mm,
so I started out uh, with saying, it was the air was a little down in here this morning when I first come in, and I understand there was an emergency in someone's family, and my heart goes out to them, you know, and what I'm presenting today relates to those kinds of situations.
mm,
And so let's start right in and let's go from there. And as I talked, I slowly brought them up so
mm,
that towards the end of it, we were all laughing again, right?
mm.
Reverent of the person that wasn't there, we acknowledged them. I acknowledged somebody. I could have made a grave mistake by trying to pull off a funny
A
joke or
joke.
something like that, that would have not only not hit, it would have been cut off whatever energy I was going to have for the room.
Mm,
So what you say is really quite true.
mm,
You check out the audience before you get to the podium, and good story for you. Thanks.
I
Um,
love that part. I love the part of connecting with them first. For me, I always know that the audience response will be limited to their story of me or their judgment of me. There's like, she's young, she's unexperienced, she's young and blonde, whatever. For me to walk up to people and spend some time with them, and especially since COVID, it's not so much about the handshake, really. It's about the eye contact. There's always this communication flowing from in between us on a relationship level. Yes, it's the word that we're saying, but it's what am I communicating and how I see you. And there's just so much information in just a glance, just how we see each other. Looking into a person's eyes, like, I value you. I'm so glad you're here. It's just makes them feel so safe. It's the experience of knowing me, not just seeing me and judging me on the stage. It's that connection that creates that safety so that we can co-create and make this a good experience together.
Yes, absolutely. You know, I've talked about this on other audience related lives that we've done. That talking to different people. For me, I always love the one I'm with. So if I'm coming to an event and I'm going to keynote, a day in or 2 days in or whatever it is, I am there a day early while they're setting up everything, talking to the staff, talking to whoever's there, enjoying conversations and stories about how they got there or why they're there, those kinds of things. The morning of, especially, I'm what we used to call in the U.S. Navy, "Oh, dark 30." That means I'm like almost the first person down there before they even have the coffee and donuts and stuff set up yet. I'm hanging out and I've got my speaker tag on and people when they show up, they can be a little foggy eyed, but then they see, wow, there's the speaker already, you know, that's a, wow, I wonder why he's doing that. And they'll come up to you. They'll say, well, good morning. Aren't you the keynote for lunch according to my program? Oh yeah. I'm just here early to talk to everybody and get a sense of the people here because
Mm,
for a speaker to connect to people, it's very important. And so why are you here? Maybe you can tell me how you got here or whatever. What was important to you to be here very first thing this morning, right? I
mm,
threw it right back at him in a loving, open and warm way, and get him to talk. And likewise, other people, pretty soon you get a group. You end up with a small
mm,
group of people talking about concerns and why they're at this particular conference. It may not be a company conference. I haven't spoken at a company conference since pre-COVID. That'll change eventually. And so you get people of different backgrounds coming like the Pirate Summit, right? And talking to all these different people and their stories as well as why they're there, what are they
mm,
hoping or expecting to
mm.
gain from everything, so that when you step up there on the stage you have people in mind, not just
Yeah,
a bunch of words that you're going to spew out. You
yeah,
have a way of conveying your message to different people that you've been talking to for the last day or two, whatever it is,
mm,
and hit home. Because when you get up on the stage before you're um, introduced, I'll look around the audience and see where some of those people are in the audience if I possibly can. And then when I talk about, I won't point them out by name or anything, but when I talk about the situation that they referred me and told me about previously, I'll look at them and give them a little nod. You know, I validate you and I validate you so much that I'm going to speak about you. And that just hits home. When people speak about something I spoke to them about and they acknowledge me, not necessarily by name, but they do acknowledge me, that means a great deal to me. And I am all on, no matter what I was thinking of before that happened. I am full into whatever else that speaker is going to say because they are a real person up there. They're not this talking machine. There's real connection that we've made, and I just really like it. And then after the presentation's over and there's a break or whatever, they'll come up to you and thank you, for validating their story or saying something about them. And you get other people there that had similar story, but not quite. And they want to tell you about theirs, you know.
mm,
So
yeah,
that's a delightful example of how the response from an audience can really be a positive thing. How about you?
absolutely. People know when we're being sincere. And I for sure know the experience of becoming nervous and looking out the crowd and seeing that, are they really like, is this really important to them? Am I really hitting home? And the moment I start getting trapped in my head and focusing on my performance and me, that just produces cortisol. Like, that's so stressful. As you're saying, Terry, it is all about connection. It is shifting focus into caring for the audience, genuinely like wanting what's best for them. And that really produces the relational hormone, serotonin, that makes us just feel really good and makes us relax. And something that comes to mind right now is another thing that can help us become really comfortable on stage. And when we're recognizing that people are, a little closed down and people are having some tension, that's muscle memory. Muscle memory is about the fact that we have so many muscles in our own body that is actually connected to our emotions. So that when we are uh, triggering them, when we are showing just a behavior or like a way of acting that is really a closed down body language, when we're showing the palm of our hands, or what will happen when we're stressed is that we will talk really, really fast and our pitch is going to get higher and we're going to go walk faster. And that really triggers the stress hormones in our own bodies. And it's the same with the audience. So when we're recognizing that the audience might just have some tension, maybe it has nothing to do with us. It's going to cause those reactions that we get tense ourselves and we're going to, have us hyped up that way. When we notice that we're walking down that path, we can actually use it to our benefit and slow down, like really take our voice down, talk a little slower, have our body movements open up to the audience. Everyone listening, like, did you know that there's research showing what happens to our brains when we see someone who has an open body language? If you're looking at the palm of your hand, just reach it out right now, look at the palm of your hands. There's a relaxation in your brain. And then when you flip it, looking at the back of your hand, this will cause tension because it's connected to a body language that is closed down and like expressing the feelings of not feeling safe. So you can just play around with this. And if you're noticing, is the audience comfortable? Am I comfortable? Slow down, open up, just notice what's happening in your body when you start producing that serotonin, feeling comfortable, enjoying yourself, and just seeing the effect that it really has on the audience. Such a good tip.
Yes, yes. You know, to really draw the audience in is to show empathy. Like with me in the boardroom, I was very empathetic about what just happened there. Maybe a few or all of them knew that gentleman's brother. You know, we don't know how close they were, and asking a lot of questions is going to make it worse. Whereas being acknowledging that there was an event and keeping the event general, not, oh, I hear somebody died. Not a good idea.
Oh.
But I hear there was an emergency, and
Mm.
my heart goes out to them as I suppose you all do here today. So here's what I'm talking about today, right?
Yeah.
And I don't start right out by glad to be here. Can't wait. I change everything. The, even my presentation changes at that moment because I will use empathy in my delivery and how my choice of words can be softening and slowly build some lightness in the room. Say a
Mm.
little light thing, usually pointed at me. That's funny, and you get a couple of smiles, and then you get a hee hee, and then pretty soon you try something based on what's said and how you're responding, or how the audience is responding. You try something really funny, so they laugh. You know,
Mm.
And sometimes you don't do that at all. You just
Mm,
allow the everything to be at a little lower key and respect what has happened.
mm,
And when it's over, people are still going to come up to you and you go, wow, that was an amazing speech, Ambassador Terry. Um, you just pulled my heart right into your subject. How do I
mm,
talk to you personally?
mm,
Right. And then you're not a talking head at the stage with a big mouth. You're somebody that I, Mr. and Mrs. Audience participant, can relate to and would love to talk to,
yeah,
right? Jenny?
yeah. And what you're doing is that you're actually activating the frontal part of the brain that is connected to feeling safe. And the basic emotions there is just joy and interest and being proud of what you're doing. And it just opens them up to have that experience of creativity. And especially in such a session where um, something really drastically just happened and people might be caught up with their own processing their own emotions. Even if they looked kind of glance right there and then, it will turn out they were really paying attention. They were really listening because that was a safe space and they felt free to actually be themselves and be kind of blank and in their own minds. So I think that's a
Mhm.
really, really good response that you got right there.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm,
I'll often stop speaking if I think people are drifting off. Not in a bad way. It can be a good way. Like that board, they were drifting off now and then. It made sense. And I'll just stop for a few seconds, not say anything, just freeze. And
mm,
then people look up, like, what happened? Right?
mm,
Then you engage them again and you continue to speak, maybe change the speed of your delivery or
mm,
um, the way you use your voice. You switch from a presentation voice, which is loud and clear and absolutely confident, to
mhm,
a little softer. Yeah,
mm.
I'm a human being. I understand your pain, you know. Been there,
Yeah,
done that probably at my age. There's a lot of things I've been doing. And you are so spot on, behavioral scientist Jenny Landgren, talking about the frontal lobe and how does that work? That's amazing. Yes, thank you for bringing that up. When you were saying that, I totally got it. It's just like, boom, there it is. Yeah. In my research, we do a little thinking about in and around the brain, the baby brain, all the way up, so that's important as well. Any ending message that you want to give today about audience response?
yeah. The I think you were ending off touching on just the engagement and the connection right back to it, connecting with the audience. And I love opening up saying, hey, you guys, just showing up real. uh, this this is not a one man's show. I am here to co-create with you. I'm here for connection. However we feel when we walk out this room is based on what we are creating together. So just having people invited into that shared experience and feeling the power of what happens when we show up real and authentic and do something together. Yeah, just helps us release off a lot of tension and whatever happened in the morning and whatever happened with the kids. Like we are here right now to connect. And I just love being up there, and I love hearing your experiences as well, Terry. And thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you. You're always a treat, my dear friend. And your point of view about this industry and the way it works from a behavioral scientist perspective. I just really have high respect for you because you're an incredible person, great speaker, and frankly, I love doing these with you. They're fun. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, some final thoughts from me too. People in the audience are not heads. with eyes that are looking at their iPhones or whatever. They're real people. And if they're distracted in that way, stop, take a pause, allow them to reconnect with you, and then feel it. Is it something funny you should say at that point to get to kind of lighten it up? Or do you want to do like I did to those folks in that boardroom? Just kind of acknowledge and move forward. Those are important. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today. And for those who will listen to this recording in the future, thanks for stopping in. We really appreciate it. Jenny, thank you so much, my friend. This was
Thank you, Jeremy.
exactly what I thought it would be. So, ladies and gentlemen, bye for now.